Hi everybody, I'm Diana Pagliazzo. Well, welcome to my 2073 business class this summer. I've been a little frustrated because I don't get to know you. So today one of my colleagues has been kind enough to help me with this new innovation. It's not new, but it's new to me. So today what I like to do is actually introduce that Human Resource Chapter 20 to you in a brief summation of it. And just so you get to know who I am, and then I could give you a little bit of information about the chapter that hopefully will be helpful in your day-to-day lives. Well, Chapter 20 is about human resources, and human resources has taken such a change this past couple years for many different reasons. In Chapter 1, I put trends of the workplace up in your course documents. Why did I incorporate that? It wasn't part of the overall book, but the trends of the workplace do affect all of us, and one of them being the HR changes and the legalities of the workplace. So let's look into that with our eyes open that you may not want to be a human resource manager. However, each one of you deal with people every day, and that is why you need to know about human resources. Let's start out when you hire someone. When you hire someone in today's workplace, it's so different than many years ago because we have the legalities that I told you about. Number one is applications. Applications have to be standardized in a sense that you're always asking the correct questions. When you take your HR class, and I know some of you had, Alex, this might be a repeat for you, but the rest of you, your HR course shows you what legal questions you can and cannot ask your potential employees. So it has to do with how you're going to receive information from your potential candidates. So you have to be careful of what you're asking your candidates, how you ask them, and to make sure you are consistent in asking each applicant the correct and the same questions. Number two is there's a lot of different testing mechanisms that are built into hiring candidates. Number one, most people get a credential on your credit rating. And why is that? For my students in this group who do not have an A1 credit rating, you need to bring that up to snuff because your credit rating sometimes will either deter you from receiving a job or actually assist you. Good credit is important because employers look at it as a good character and someone who is consistent and has good skill set of, I'm going to use the word, being disciplined. So number one, credit checks. Number two is they also look at your license. Why? Because again, it shows the character of a person. And they're looking for somebody who does not have any gray areas, I'm going to use the word, because I could get into that. The third thing they do is sometimes they give you some type of integrity testing. Some employers actually offer an interview with a PR, and that person actually questions the candidate about their social issues, about what they do in their free time, different things that do not really affect the workplace, but they're looking for overall character. Today's potential candidate, a management candidate in any organization, cost each organization approximately $10,000 just in training and implementation for that employee to get invested into the area that they're working in. So that's a lot of money. So far we've discussed, number one, you look at different mechanisms that were used to test candidates' reliability, such as your integrity test, your driver's license, your credit rating. Are there others? Yes, there are others, but now companies also ask you to take drug test. Now, if any of you watch CSI, yes, you'll know that they're into DNA. That is something that's coming up the road. As soon as they narrow down those costs for DNA, you may see people taking hair samples instead of urinalysis. And why do they do this again? Because they want the right person on the bus. Some of you down the road may have time to read Good to Great, and that's by Jim Collins. And they talk about getting the right people on the bus because that's so important to your organization and how you drive it. Literally, getting the right people in the right positions surely makes a position. Problem employees sometimes are moved around. So you're moving around a problem to a different area. The second issue I want to discuss is your applications. You have to make sure your applications are actually worded correctly. They're consistent. Online applications tend to be the trend now. They are done a little bit differently. And the third thing that you really have to look for is your multi-generational workplace. You have different types of people in different areas. Therefore, skill sets, sometimes you have to weigh experience versus new technological skills that some prospective employees have. Blending the organization is such a challenge these days because many people in different areas do not know how to relate to people outside their ethnicity, their technological skills, and age. The multi-generational workplace issue is something that is a very big challenge for people in today's workplace. And the other thing is diversity, which comes into that, the multi-generational diverse workplace. How do you get people to work together, both cohesively and not against each other? Because a lot of organizations today work as teams. And bringing all people's skill sets to the table is so important. So with your multi-generational, multi-diverse workplace, it becomes actually a challenge to get people to work together as a team and taking all their talents collectively so you could help reach your goal in an organization. So that's one of the trends in the workplace. So we have our hiring practices, number one, are tighter and much more thorough than they were many years ago. Number two is that your multi-generational, multicultural workplace certainly is a challenge for HR professionals, whether you work in a small organization or a big one. And some of the chapters have indicated, who you're going to hire for your positions. Hiring for a corporation a little bit more diligent than a small business, as some of you are working in. However, I think the challenges really do remain the same. Let's go to technology. Actually in the workplace has enhanced us and made us so much more global, quicker, and many other positive benefits of it. But let's talk about the etiquette of the cell phone. Probably the biggest deterrent of employees in today's workplace. Everybody has their nose in it. Millennials, which are people who are born in the late 80s to early 2000s. We have the next, I always try to be a millennial, but you guys know now I am not. My technological skills are not as savvy as I would like to be with them. But the students today and young millennials actually have their phones attached to them. But what about the etiquette of the workplace? Now, some companies this past year have really referred back to their handbooks to look at the technological uses. Where do we draw the line about what they can and cannot do? Are cell phones allowed at your workplace? Is it a deterrent for employees' productivity? Yes, it is. The other thing, the problem is that what comes first, work or the cell phone? And that actually is a challenge of all management. So technology, has enhanced us, but it has been a deterrent in many different ways in our workplace. I know I've gone to the store many times and I've been told by people who are clerks, whether it be in Macy's or the food store, and say, could you hold on a minute? I have to answer my cell phone. And sometimes you look at them in disbelief, but that's where our priorities are with millennials. And as they have so many more enhanced technological skills than people in Generation Y and X and the boomers, but as a manager in the workplace, you have to learn how to actually develop a skill set. I like the idea of pairing millennials up with older folks so they can actually teach each other. Experience and a relationship comes from the technological piece. So that's something you could challenge yourself to do, but blend the skills together so you have a stronger workforce. So we talked about technology in the work handbooks. Let me just address handbooks. Most managers don't understand the importance of the handbooks, which is developed by your HR department. Most small businesses do not have an official one. You hire attorneys, but you hire them too late. Hire them in the beginning of your small business so you can actually have the guidelines set up for both your employees and your management as you grow. The handbook is something that each manager employee can refer to legally, what your company's policy and procedures are. And that's where that technology piece might be embedded, along with all the other norms, which is payroll. You have how to dress for success, or what's acceptable in the office, which also is a challenge of today's workplace. Technology use, the benefits. Let's get to that word benefits, because in your past exam, benefits, a lot of you didn't understand the fringe benefits. And that we're going to learn a little bit more on. And by the way, I gave you that question because it was in chapter 20, but fringe benefit of an organization is part of the overall package. Companies today have trimmed those fringe benefits. And those fringe benefits may be something health insurance, dental insurance, eye care. But also, many of you have actually happily accepted the fringe benefit of tuition remission. How lucky are you? Because you put that the cost of the cost onto your salary. And how you have it set up, I know in some of your organizations you go to class there, some of you are doing this online this semester, but that is a fringe benefit. Companies sometimes 401k. Wow, wasn't it great when, or isn't it great if your company matches your 401k contribution? For my 20-year-olds in the course, start your 401ks as soon as you are eligible, because you want to build a mountain of money for when you get older. Because in today's time, people are living longer, but that's why they're working as well, because they have to actually pay for their longer longevity. So that's something that comes into play. So fringe benefits, guys, also part of your handbook, but it is different from most organizations. Small organizations are going to face a change with the healthcare issues in the next year or two. President Obama has established something that most businesses, and I don't know the law verbatim right now, so I don't want to tell you, but they are going to have to offer, small employers are going to have to offer health benefits to all their employees in some capacity. And we'll keep an eye on that in the next couple years, because I believe the has to be done by the end of 2014, which is shortly upon us. All right, so let's see a little bit more about HR that I want to just discuss with you. I did put a PowerPoint in. I don't have it in front of me. And as I said to you, this is my first time doing this, so I want to just tie in the rest of the chapter. HR, folks, also has to deal with people issues. And dealing with people probably is the biggest challenge most managers have. Did I get, number one, the right person? Number two is, do they know what the policy and procedure is of my organization? Do they understand what their job description is? And what is a job description? A job description is your day-to-day tasks that you actually perform on the job. In today's time, it is the norm that people's job descriptions expand without a change in job description, a change in title, or a change in compensation. And that sometimes is very frustrating for people. The other word that I want you to know is job specifications. Those are the word. Job specifications are the requirements that you need for the position of that you're applying to. And that might be like experience, that could be your college degree. Many of you may be bumped up in your position. You're going to use this degree as leverage, and that might be part of your next step for your next promotion. The job specifications requirement needed for a job. Some of you might need certifications. Just recently you looked at the SBA website and you saw all those things about small business, but job descriptions are not something they talk about a lot, because small business owners tend not to really stick by them. In many cases they hire people, and in small organizations sometimes that person becomes a jack of all trades, as many owners do. And not only are you working 24/7, but you're also performing many different tasks on the job. I touched upon so many things, and I only had 15 minutes, so I could go on and on as you're trying to figure this out. But I want to say it's been my pleasure working with you this summer, and hopefully I'll be able to pick up the phone this week and touch base with you. You all did really well on your test, and I know some of you who did speak to me, some of the questions I didn't elaborate on that were in the textbook, but I assumed that you knew something that we didn't cover. That's probably the frustrations of online learning, is that I would have probably in a classroom added more information to a statement, such as diversity in the workplace. So that was one of them. So the trends in the workplace, look at them because they affect all of you. And the HR piece, whether you're an HR manager or not, or just a regular manager, affect you daily. So I hope you enjoyed chapter 20. I hope you enjoyed this little segment of a lecture. And you're my first audience, so you're going to have to let me know how I did. So I'll talk to you tonight online, and have a great day.